Hey, friends. Happy Thursday to you. I hope you liked my little song there. Anyways, it's another Thursday with me, so you're so lucky, aren't you? Um, and this Thursday, I want to talk about varying wake windows throughout the day. So, what I mean by that is that I'm sure everybody who's a parent has looked at wake window charts, or they go by certain wake windows that they're supposed to do um, when your baby's young. Well, when you have a baby, you go by certain wake windows, right? Your baby can stay awake for this long at this age and this long at this age. So the wake windows are very age dependent. And I'm sure every parent knows what that is. And if you don't, you should probably look into it because it's super important. Um, and what I'm here to tell you about today is that those wake windows can actually vary throughout the day. So you're probably like, what? I had this wake window thing all figured out, and now you're telling me they vary? Um, they can vary, but they might not. And that wake window chart is literally just there to give you a guideline. The maximum what you want to do is not let them go past that maximum time. So, for example, for a 6 month old, you really don't want to go past a 2.5, 2.5 hour wake window, because if you if you go past that, then you can really get your baby overtired, and that can cause issues all on its own, which being overtired is so hard to deal with, for the baby and for the parent. So you don't want to ever go past that. So I'm also going to talk about that while we're talking, but I'll get to that in a minute. What I'm here to tell you right now is that those wake windows can vary. So, for example, in the morning, I go by a 7 by 7 schedule: wake at 7, bedtime at 7. So if you wake your little one at 7 and they're up, and you see an hour and a half into it that they're tired, I just want to make a note about this for you guys right now. An hour to an hour and a half after any baby, doesn't matter whose baby it is, every baby will have a natural dip in energy around the 1 to 1.5 hour mark. They can start showing sleepy signs, but this does not necessarily mean they are tired yet. So you really have to try to get them to push past that. Give them time without a diaper on. Give them tummy time. Do whatever you can to really refresh them again and get them refreshed up and awake again. And usually having the diaper off will do it. And then they'll be able to push past and get past that, because usually it's just natural for their energy levels to dip at that time, and that does not usually mean that they're ready for bed. A lot of parents will put their child to bed during that time, and they're actually doing it when at the wrong time. It's not enough time to be awake yet. Usually an hour and a half is not, unless your baby's only like a month or two old, that's not enough time. So they need to be pushed a little bit further. So push them past that mark, and once they get past that, they'll be okay. So let's just say, for example, they're awake for 2 hours in the morning. Let's go by a 6 month old because it's in the middle, kind of. So the 6 month old is awake for 2 hours in the morning. They can only make it to 2 hours. That's fine. So they're awake from 7 till 9. And then they take a nap. For the way I do my sleep training and the way I do my work, I give a longer lunch nap of 2 hours, and I keep the morning nap short, for varying reasons that one day I will get into. But it's extremely important why that lunch nap is given where it is for that amount of time. So I give a short morning nap of no more than 30 minutes. So if your baby can't make it to the 9:30 nap and they only make it till 9, that's totally fine. You can let them sleep until the 10 o'clock mark. But I don't know, you might just want to wake them a little bit early, maybe 15 minutes early, so that their lunch nap can be as long as it should be. And then, let's say you wake them at 10 and or 9:45, and they make it to the 12:30 mark, and they're good to go. And then they sleep for their long 2 hour stretch at 2:30 till 2:30, which is perfect. That is exactly what you want. And then you want to give them another 2 hour wake window limit, 2.5 hour limit. So you don't want them going past that 2.5 hour mark. Some babies don't show sleepy signs, and if they don't, put them down at the 2.5 hour mark, because more than likely they are tired. They're just not showing you signs. So if, for example, say they woke at 2:30 and by 5 they were showing sleepy signs. For a baby at the age of 6 months, I do recommend since they get that huge chunk of 2 hours sleep from 12:30 to 2:30. If they did take that 2 hours sleep, they usually don't need an afternoon nap, especially at 6 months. Between 6 to 8 months, they drop that nap altogether, and they can go actually a little bit longer during their wake times. So let it go till 6:30. If they don't take the afternoon nap, they're 6 to 8 months old or older. Let them have that 4 hour wake window. But some babies can't. So if you're finding your baby can't, then you can give them a nap from 4:30 to 5. So see how those wake windows all varied? They did a 2 hour wake window in the morning. Between their morning nap and their lunch nap, it was a 2.5 hour. And then after that, it was, if they went from 2:30 to 4:45, it was almost, I'm so bad at math, but it would be almost 2.5 hours. So, or a little bit over that. So it's varying. It all varies. And that's okay. Sometimes babies just or perhaps you just started a sleep schedule. So, I mean, they take time to get used to that, right? And another thing I'll say is that usually all babies, they need the same amount of wake time. It doesn't matter. You can't say all babies are different. They are different in certain, like they are different, but they should be able to make it to that mark or close to. So if you're finding your baby isn't, then you can stretch their wake windows by 5 to 10 minutes every 2 days until they're meeting that wake window. So say they're really struggling at 1.5 hours and you're like, I just can't get them to do it any longer. Start stretching their wake windows by 5 to 10 minutes every 2 days, and that should improve and it should help. But they should be able to make it to 2.5 hours, and you can keep stretching it. I mean, the max is you want to get to 2.5 hours, but if you can't, if you're 15 minutes off, it's totally fine. But yes, you do want to aim for that limit as closely as you can. So keeping to a schedule with a 6-month-old and older is really, really helpful. I'd even say around 4 months is when you can really start implementing a schedule. And so you want to stick to that schedule. Always stay consistent with it. And always, like I said, try to avoid under or overtired. So if you're trying to stick to your schedule and you're finding your baby is having a tough time making it to those suggested nap times and bedtimes, then put them to sleep when you're seeing sleepy cues, and try to improve that by what I told you before, by stretching their wake windows 5 to 10 minutes a day. That goes for like 6 to 8 month old. Older babies between 8 to 12 months, you can probably do 10 to 15 minutes every day, stretch their wake time. It varies. You don't want to start stretching their wake window by 20 minutes when they're only 6 months old. That's just too much for that little one. So 5 to 10 for them. Older babies can go a little bit longer. But yeah, so avoid undertired and overtired. Really try to stay consistent with your schedule as much as you possibly can. Try to give naps and bedtime at the same time every day, including lunches, meals. Keep those all at a consistent time every day. That helps. And it also helps to lengthen their wake windows, because then you really have something to follow in order to stretch out their wake windows and to keep everything in its certain time slot, which is something that I really like. I love schedules and routine, and so do children. So if you can really stick to your schedule, stay as consistent as possible. If their wake windows vary, that's totally okay, but aim for trying to get them to as close to their limit as possible, because that will really, really help you in the long run. And yeah, I think that's probably all I have to say for you guys. Yeah, so schedule, make sure to stay consistent with it. Make sure not to let your put your child to bed undertired or overtired, because that can really mess up your schedule. And the varying wake windows are okay, but try to stretch them to that limit. So yeah, I think I just repeated myself 15 times, so I think you guys get the idea. I'm gonna stop talking now. Anyways, I have a blog that goes with this. You guys can check it out on my website. My website is sleeplittle1.org. Check it out, and also join my Facebook group. I'd love for you to join. The description, the link is in the description. Also, Sleep Little One. I give free weekly tips and advice to parents who are exhausted and need to improve their little one's sleep. I have these videos in there. I have my blogs. I have infographics, everything that you could possibly imagine, all in one place where you can find it all. And I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your day. Hope you have a great weekend. And I will talk to you guys next Thursday. Bye.